When Drew Brees retired after the 2020 NFL season, his on-field resume was firmly established. Over 20 seasons, including 15 with the New Orleans Saints, he accumulated 80,358 passing yards and 571 touchdown passes. At the time he stepped away, he ranked first in league history in career completions and second in both passing yards and touchdown passes, trailing only Tom Brady in those categories at that moment. He guided the Saints to a 31-17 victory in Super Bowl 44 and earned Super Bowl MVP honors for his performance. His partnership with head coach Sean Payton reshaped the franchise and produced sustained playoff appearances throughout the 2000s and 2010s. However, during his final year in the league, Brees became part of a different national discussion. In June 2020, during an interview with Yahoo Finance, he stated that he would never agree with anyone disrespecting the flag by kneeling during the national anthem. The comments drew strong criticism from teammates, including several Saints players, as well as other athletes across the NFL. Within 24 hours, Brees issued a public apology on social media, acknowledging that he had missed the mark and expressing support for teammates and broader conversations about racial injustice. For some observers, the episode reflected growth and accountability. For others, it added complexity to how they evaluated his leadership. This chapter does not erase his football accomplishments, but it remains part of the broader story of how a future Hall of Fame quarterback managed public controversy alongside long-term professional respect on his path toward Canton. Before the events of 2020, Drew Brees had already secured his place among the most accomplished quarterbacks in NFL history. Selected in the second round of the 2001 NFL Draft by the San Diego Chargers, he became the team's full-time starter in 2002. After early inconsistency, he delivered a breakout season in 2004, earning Pro Bowl honors and leading the Chargers to a 12-4 record. In the final game of the 2005 season, he suffered a torn labrum in his throwing shoulder. During the 2006 offseason, San Diego chose to move forward with Phillip Rivers, and Brees signed a 6-year contract with the New Orleans Saints. That decision reshaped both his career and the direction of the franchise. From 2006 through 2020, he became the central figure of the Saints organization, guiding the team to 9 playoff appearances and securing its first and only Super Bowl championship following the 2009 season. Over the next decade, he continued to break major passing records. In 2018, he surpassed Peyton Manning's career passing yardage total, becoming the league's all-time leader at that moment. He retired with 80,358 passing yards and 571 touchdown passes. By any objective football measure, his Hall of Fame credentials were firmly established well before his final season. In June 2020, during an interview with Yahoo Finance, Drew Brees was asked about players kneeling during the national anthem as a form of protest against racial injustice. In response, he said he would never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. The statement was quickly shared across social media and news platforms. The reaction was immediate. Several of his New Orleans Saints teammates publicly disagreed with his remarks, including players who explained that the protests were focused on racial inequality and police reform rather than the flag itself. Athletes from other teams also responded, and the criticism spread widely because the comments came during a period of national demonstrations following the killing of George Floyd in May 2020. For many critics, the concerns centered on what they believed was a misunderstanding of the protest's purpose. They argued that the issue was not about patriotism, but about addressing systemic inequality. Within 24 hours, Brees issued a public apology on Instagram. In that message, he acknowledged that he had missed the point of the protests and said he needed to listen more closely to the experiences of Black teammates and members of the community. In his public apology posted on Instagram, Drew Brees stated that he stood with his teammates in the fight for racial equality and acknowledged that his earlier comments had been hurtful and had missed the larger issue. In high-profile situations, apologies are often met with mixed reactions. Some observers question whether they are strategic responses to criticism, while others believe they reflect genuine reconsideration and growth. What followed in the days and weeks after his statement became an important part of how this episode is viewed. Teammates, including Malcolm Jenkins, who had strongly criticized Brees' original remarks, later said that Brees had reached out directly and engaged in meaningful conversations. Jenkins indicated that Brees showed a willingness to listen and better understand perspectives within the locker room. Head coach Sean Payton also described internal discussions as honest and constructive. As the 2020 season approached, there were no public signs of division within the team. On the field, Brees started 12 regular season games, missing several contests due to rib fractures and a collapsed lung. The Saints finished 12-4 and reached the playoff, ultimately losing in the NFC divisional round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Leadership in professional sports is often measured by wins, playoff success, and statistical production. In 2020, Drew Brees' leadership was evaluated through a different lens. The NFL had already experienced national anthem protests in previous seasons, but the social climate in 2020, following the killing of George Floyd and widespread demonstrations, intensified public discussion. For a quarterback who had long been regarded as steady, disciplined, and community-focused, the controversy marked one of the most difficult moments of his career. The reaction extended beyond football performance and entered broader conversations about social awareness and public responsibility. The episode did not erase his Super Bowl victory, his record-setting passing totals, or his 15-year role as the face of the New Orleans Saints. However, it did introduce new debate about perspective, listening, and growth. Some supporters viewed his apology and direct engagement with teammates as a meaningful step toward understanding. Some critics believed the original comments reflected a deeper gap in awareness. Both viewpoints became part of the public record, shaping how his leadership in 2020 is remembered alongside his long-established football achievements. After the 2020 season concluded, Drew Brees officially announced his retirement on March 14, 2021, exactly 15 years after signing with the New Orleans Saints. He stepped away from the game as one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in league history. At the time of his retirement, he was the NFL's all-time leader in career completions, ranked second in career passing yards with 80,358, and second in career touchdown passes with 571. He had earned 13 Pro Bowl selections and led the Saints to a 31-17 victory in Super Bowl 44, where he was named Super Bowl MVP. His retirement message focused on gratitude toward teammates, coaches, and family rather than controversy. The announcement was widely covered as a celebration of a long and productive career. Following retirement, Brees joined NBC Sports as a football analyst during the 2021 season, appearing on game broadcasts and studio programs. In 2022, he stepped away from that broadcasting role. Over time, public discussion gradually returned to his on-field achievements and historical standing, with less emphasis on the earlier off-field debate from 2020. Under Pro Football Hall of Fame rules, a player becomes eligible for consideration 5 years after retirement. Since Drew Brees retired following the 2020 season and officially announced that decision in March 2021, his eligibility aligns with that standard timeline. Historically, quarterbacks with comparable statistical production, longevity, and a Super Bowl championship have been selected on the first ballot. Brees' career totals place him firmly within that historical range. He finished with 80,358 passing yards and 571 touchdown passes, ranking among the top players in league history at the time of retirement. He earned 13 Pro Bowl selections and was named NFL Offensive Player of the Year twice, in 2008 and 2011. His leadership during the Saints' 2009 championship run earned him Super Bowl 44 MVP honors. Very few quarterbacks combine that level of sustained production, postseason success, and individual recognition across 20 seasons. Hall of Fame voting traditionally focuses on on-field performance, career impact, and contribution to the evolution of the game. Public controversies or off-field debates are not listed criteria in the formal evaluation process. As a result, Brees' statistical arsenal and championship record remain the primary factors shaping expectations surrounding his eventual Hall of Fame induction. The word redemption often implies a clear fall followed by a measurable recovery. In Drew Brees' situation, the 2020 controversy occurred at the end of a career that was already widely considered Hall of Fame worthy. His statistical record, championship arsenal, and long-term impact on the New Orleans Saints were not under review. The debate centered instead on public perception and leadership during a sensitive national moment. For some observers, His apology and direct engagement with teammates demonstrated reflection and willingness to grow. Others continue to view the initial comments as a complicated part of his public image. Unlike situations involving league discipline, suspensions, or legal violations, this episode did not involve a breach of NFL policy. It was a public disagreement about social issues taking place during a period of national tension. In terms of professional consequences, the long-term impact appears limited. The Saints organization celebrated his retirement, and he remains strongly connected to the most successful era in franchise history. His football accomplishments continue to anchor discussions of his career, even as the 2020 episode remains part of the broader narrative. It is important to view Drew Brees' career within the broader arc of his time in New Orleans. He signed with the Saints in March 2006, less than a year after Hurricane Katrina caused widespread destruction across the city and surrounding region. At that time, the franchise was rebuilding both on the field and within the community. Over the next 15 seasons, Brees became closely connected to the Saints' resurgence and to the city's renewed sense of stability. The Super Bowl 44 victory following the 2009 season carried deep symbolic meaning for many residents, as it came during a period of long-term recovery and rebuilding. Beyond football, Brees and his family contributed to local causes through the Brees Dream Foundation, which supported education programs, health initiatives, and post-Katrina recovery projects. Public records and team statements documented millions of dollars in donations directed toward community development. For many fans in New Orleans, that sustained involvement remains central to how his legacy is understood. While statistics and championships define part of his career, his long-term commitment to the city and franchise continues to shape public perception of his overall impact. When evaluating athletes who play for 2 decades or more, 2 parallel tracks often shape their legacy. One track focuses on measurable accomplishments such as statistics, awards, playoff success, and championships. The other track reflects public image, leadership moments, and cultural context. In Drew Brees' case, the performance record is clearly documented. He retired with 80,358 passing yards, 571 touchdown passes, 13 Pro Bowl selections, and a Super Bowl 44 championship where he was named MVP. Those achievements are fixed within league history. The 2020 controversy exists alongside those accomplishments rather than replacing them. Unlike situations involving suspensions, league discipline, or legal proceedings that directly altered careers, Brees' episode involved public comments, strong reaction, a formal apology, and subsequent dialogue with teammates. It became part of a national conversation about leadership and perspective during a tense period in the United States. How heavily that moment weighs in long-term public memory may differ depending on the observer. Some may view it as a brief controversy within a distinguished career. Others may see it as a meaningful chapter in understanding how athletes navigate social issues while maintaining professional standing. When Drew Brees is eventually inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, the central focus will almost certainly be his impact on the field. Over 20 seasons, he became one of the defining quarterbacks of the modern passing era. He consistently completed more than 65% of his passes and led the league in completion percentage multiple times. He surpassed 5,000 passing yards in a season 5 separate times, more than any other quarterback in NFL history. His timing, accuracy, and command of the offense helped reshape expectations for high-volume, high-efficiency passing attacks. His 15-season partnership with head coach Sean Payton in New Orleans produced one of the most productive quarterback-coach combinations of the era, including a Super Bowl 44 championship and years of sustained playoff contention. The events of 2020 will remain part of the full timeline of his life and career. They do not erase his records, nor do they eliminate the public reaction and conversations that followed. Instead, they sit alongside his accomplishments as one chapter in a long professional story. That leads to a broader question about how sports history evaluates legacy. Should long-term performance and measurable achievement remain the primary standard? Should public missteps carry equal weight? Or should evidence of reflection and accountability also shape historical memory? As with many public figures, how Drew Brees is remembered may depend on which factors each observer chooses to emphasize. Drew Brees' career reflects multiple chapters that extend beyond simple statistics. He produced elite numbers over 20 seasons, finishing with 80,358 passing yards and 571 touchdown passes at retirement. He overcame a serious shoulder injury at the end of the 2005 season with San Diego, signed with New Orleans in 2006, and helped guide the Saints to a Super Bowl 44 championship, earning MVP honors in that game. He later surpassed major career passing records and became one of the defining quarterbacks of his era. At the same time, his journey also included public controversy in 2020, a widely discussed apology, and continued leadership during his final season. His path from injury uncertainty to lifting the Lombardi Trophy and from public criticism to long-term professional respect was not one-dimensional. Now the discussion shifts to you. When Drew Brees is inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, should the spotlight remain focused entirely on his football performance, records, and championships? Or should the broader arc of his public journey also factor into how his legacy is remembered? Share your perspective in the comments below. And if you want more structured, fact-driven deep dives into the full stories behind NFL legends, consider subscribing, because the road to greatness often includes more than just touchdowns and trophies.